When you think of church, what immediately comes to mind? Isn't that a question we ought to be asking, especially in our current circumstances? When you think of church, do you think of a building? Do you think of four walls with padded pews, a sanctuary with beautiful stained glass windows, air-conditioned space, well lit? Do you think of a time frame, a Sunday morning experience? Do you think of good music and a connection with friends and family? Hopefully you think about not only the place that you go, but about the impact that it has on your life. And hopefully in the process you also think of church in terms of God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, because that's the central focus of why the church was created. But isn't the church about more than that? Isn't the church really about its people? About our family and our friends, our neighbors, even the strangers that sit near us and our visitors that come and experience with us and share? Well, church is about so much more than all of that. Church is really about all kinds of people coming together for a common purpose, drawn together by a common spirit, drawn for something that is beyond themselves, something that they may not even quite be able to describe, but they long to know in a deeper way. Well, in our current circumstances, we find that the church is really about Christ followers coming together wherever they are, at home or here, wherever they are, to build a better culture, a better society, a better community. Well, friends, I want to introduce you to some friends and family and some of the saints that have been working behind the scenes for this church for the past many years. This morning we're going to have an opportunity to listen to Joyce and Dave Mendenhall, who have been part of this church family for really over 20 years. They have served faithfully in many different roles behind the scenes, and I wanted to take an opportunity for you to hear directly from them the impact this church has had on their life, and maybe the impact it'll have on your life if you give yourself over to be a part of this community. So let's hear from them. Let's hear what their life has been like and the hopes and the dreams that they have for Mount Pleasant.
Okay.
Well, we do miss it. We do miss the family, the church family. We'll talk about it,
Well, anyway.
Go ahead, Joyce.
I'm Joyce Mendenhall, and I grew up in Parkersburg, graduated in Parkersburg High. We both graduated the same year, but didn't connect to a couple years later. And we moved from Parkersburg to a little town, Paden City, West Virginia, where Dave was involved with the bank. And after being there 21 years, he came back to Parkersburg. And we were looking at where we wanted to live. We had lived in Parkersburg, we lived in Vienna, and we thought a small town. We liked the small town of Paden City and to get involved. So anyway, and of course Dave loved golf, so it was kind of a no-brainer then. We ended up in Mineral Wells. And of course, being United Methodist, we started a church here and felt very well accepted and have continued to stay here and worship here. So it's been a good church family. And
now you have two kids.
We have two. John is in Columbia, South Carolina, and was married and had two children. And Leanne lives in Parkersburg, and she also has two children. So we have three grandsons and one granddaughter. So, yeah. So.
Now, did you join here before this building was built or after?
No, after.
After this building was built.
We came here just the time that Helen Oates was taking over.
Okay.
We came about that same time she was here.
Okay.
So it's been about 21 years, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So you've seen a lot of changes in this place.
Well, we've only seen 3 pastors, maybe.
Yeah.
That's not a lot of change for a church in 21 years, is it?
No.
Okay, so we really haven't seen a lot of changes. The staffing hasn't changed much. The people who administrated the church affairs. Hasn't changed very much. We lost a few over those 20 years, but I would say that the biggest change probably happened in 2019 as far as administrative, with the changes from the form of governing that we had to the present. Yeah. And unfortunately, we haven't seen how well that's going to work one way or the other because of the pandemic that we've had. So it's difficult right now, I think, to re-see the church as it was a year ago.
Well, you were chair. How many years were you chair?
Well, when we first came here and joined the church, Helen Oates had been the minister just for a short period of time, and she asked me if I would be involved in the church administration, and so she asked me if I would be the treasurer. No, the chairman of the finance committee. And at least I was on the finance committee. I can't remember if I was chairman right off the bat or not, but that went on for maybe 4 or 5 years, and Pastor Kevin came, and I was in the chairman of the administrative committee until 1999. So I'd say I've been involved every year in the administration of the church, but probably in the past 15, 16 years, I was the chair of the administrative board.
Do you have any real highlights that during that time, things that really?
Well, we always met the conference givings, which reason we get good preachers. Yeah. I firmly believe that, and that was my expertise, was the financial end of the church. I remember a lot of times that spiritually, maybe I wasn't as strong as I was as an administrative, and I wasn't focused on the spiritual end as much as maybe I should have been, but I felt we managed the church's property and along with the trustees, and made it a strong church.
Well, I mean, you were here when we expanded the property. I mean, during that was a big move.
Buying that property across Turkey Foot Road was, I think, a very good move, and we were landlocked, and that has opened up opportunities. Probably not in the next year or two, but even though it's been utilized some, it will one of these days be utilized quite a bit.
Joyce, what are some of your highlights over those years?
Well, I guess, of course, being involved with the United Methodist Women and some of the Bible studies, and we had a small group meeting of 5 ladies that we all grew. I felt very close, and still, and situations have happened that we haven't been able to continue that, but and just some of the social activities, I guess, that the church has had, how we have supported the community, and just being, I guess, people know that we're here, even with, of course, we all went through the flood, and how much the church, I think, helped the community at that time. And
so, I mean, that kind of begs the question. I mean, what do you think we should be doing during this pandemic? I mean, do you have any, for people that are watching, that are, both during the pandemic and the political term, I mean, how do you think we should respond?
I think there's a lot of anxiety in both areas right now. Even for myself, there's a lot of anxiety, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that feeling. I don't know why we need this anxiety, why it's put on our shoulders. But I just think we have to pray about it, and we personally can't do anything about it. We go out and do our thing, whether it's voting or where it's going to church or trying to go to church or listen to sermons, on live video. But it's a difficult period, and I think us older folks feels it more than maybe the younger folks, because we look back on history of our own and we don't really see all these issues all at one time, and it's almost overwhelming. It's something that when you talk to your friends, church members, other people outside the church, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of concern, and there's no answer. As far as what you're doing, trying to hold church video, I don't know how long we should do that. I don't know if we're doing that because the Methodist conference is saying this is the way you do it, or where you're doing it, or the church is doing it because that's the way we feel it should be done. And I believe that in the next 2 months, we should all get back to church. We should have enough of vaccinations to allow the ones that wants to be vaccinated, needs to be vaccinated, that we get back into church in the next 2 months. I think that's very important. It'll be a year since. When did you quit having? When did we quit having? It was
March
8.
March 15th,
that's right.
Last Sunday we were in this building.
So it'll be 2 years. I mean, it'll be 1 year, and it's time to get back. There might be some risk involved in it, but it's a risk when you get in your car and drive to the store. That's.
What do you recommend for people that are, locked at home and all we have is the news, watching TV?
And it hasn't been very good lately. I guess just phone calls, keep contact with people that way, because I know, people really aren't too willing. They don't want you coming into their home, and it's just a difficult time. But I guess, with the emails, or emails and texting and phone calls, and can kind of stay connected that way. But as far as what we can do for the community as a whole, I really, think it's a shame, but everyone's just kind of hunkered down in their own little place and stay in and stay safe. So.
Well, we're all struggling to figure out.
Oh, sure.
Where to go next. So. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks. Thanks for coming in. We have given out crosses for people that have really served faithfully, and we wanted you to have those two on behalf of the church to represent the best of the church. Your faithfulness through the years, and now in a new generation, trying to figure out where we go from here. But we just want to say thank you for all that you guys have done behind the scenes, as well as in front of the camera.
Well, we appreciate you, Steve, and we talk about it, but we know this is probably the most difficult time of your life as far as administrating a way you want to. You can't stand up in front of 200 people and preach. I know you have to spend countless days and evenings thinking about how you're going to present the word, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, we do.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming in.
Well, thank you.
You won't cut that out, will you?
Well, friends, I hope that you enjoyed listening to Dave and Joyce. They are people of such depth and wisdom, and we're so thankful to serve with them, to pray with them, and to be partners with them in transforming this community through the gift of Christ and through his message. Well, friends, wherever you are, I hope that you'll continue to be inspired by people like Dave and Joyce, inspired to step out and to serve in similar ways. Friends, we're always trying to keep you connected, trying to keep you informed about the opportunities that are available for you and your family to be the people that rise up and to be the light on the hill. Well, friends, I pray that this time has been a blessing to you, and I hope that you'll reach out to Dave and Joyce and tell them how much we appreciate them. Hey, friends, until next time, God bless.